How are you?
Hi.
We are a little bit slow getting set up because the computer's taking forever. Just a second. Go back to that deal. Hey, Samantha. Hi, Dean. I'm trying to get our camera or everything set up. Okay, that's right. Hey, how's everybody tonight?
Hi.
Trying to get the computer going so that way I can read the chat better, but I'm having a hard time getting the computer going. It's wanting to be slow tonight for some reason. Oh, it's right there. How dare you? I just discovered you're not even subscribed to us. I'm using Brooke's computer and she's not even subscribed to our channel. Can you believe that?
Sorry. I don't use YouTube that much.
That's okay. You already know what all goes on in the videos anyway, right?
Unless it has a huge delay.
Hey everybody, how are you guys doing? Tonight we are just going live because, well, my camera pooped out on us, and so we decided to do a live video because we haven't done one forever, and so that's what we're going to do. And we're going to kind of update you on what's been going on and answer questions and just chat. So let me turn this volume down so I can't hear myself talk. There we go. Okay. Yes, it's actually gotten freezing here. In fact, last night we had a hard freeze and it wiped out everything out of the garden. So the garden is officially done here now. So yeah, it's been crazy. We didn't even really have fall. It just went from being hot to being freezing. So it's pretty crazy. Hey Deborah, I'm glad you caught us too. No, we don't have the lake in our yard anymore. It's finally gone down, thankfully. But we did get more rain yesterday. Can you believe that we got like a total of 8 inches altogether? And you know, my last video that I showed where it was raining, we'd had up to 5 at that time, and then we got 3 more in addition to that. It was crazy. Everything was flooded here. The roads are flooded, and just we had a hard time getting to town for a day or two. But luckily it's all went down. Everything's still really muddy, but other than that, it's fine. You think you need you might send a cowbell to train Ollie and the goats? That would be good. We do have a cowbell, but it's a ginormous one. It's too heavy to carry around. Yeah, you're lucky if you haven't gotten any freezes yet, because it's extremely early for us. In fact, we actually had snow last night too, and it was enough to like cover everything, but then by this morning it was all melted away.
I'm sad about that. I want a bunch of snow.
Yeah.
I'm not quite ready for snow, so.
Me either.
I am.
I have a feeling that this year it's going to be really, really bad. We're going to be in snow up to our eyeballs all winter because we haven't had a really bad snow for a long time, and usually we have them every great once in a while. And so I think we are in for it this year.
Yeah.
You can just feel it in the air. So, I agree. It is way too early. Hey, Michael. Dad's on.
Hey, Dad. Hi.
So, yep. But Samantha says, I got plastic around a few of my peppers and they called for it to be 37 last night. Been pouring lots here in Virginia also. Yeah. Yep. I agree. It's going to be a horrid winter. I did this experiment because I have some beautiful pepper plants and it made me sad to know that they would be froze. So I actually dug up the best one out of the bunch and I transplanted it into the greenhouse. I did that several days ago and then I went out and checked it and the leaves were all droopy. Oh, a day or two ago they were really drooping and looked wilted, but today it is looking really good, so I think it's actually going to survive. And so I'm really excited because I hope that it can go ahead and produce and it won't get too cold for it in the greenhouse and we can maybe have some peppers for another month or so because it has a lot of blooms on it and a lot of little tiny peppers and everything. What part of the country are we in? We are in Kansas, south central Kansas. So, yep. We usually normally will get a hard frost by towards the end of October, I think. I can't remember when our official frost date is, but yeah. The grubs. Well, I got a bunch of stuff to treat the grubs. And then I decided to hold off because we were supposed to get a bunch of rain, which we did. And I'm glad I didn't go ahead and treat them. And then the rain kind of took care of it, actually, because we had a ton of grubs floating everywhere. If you watched our last video, I showed a little bit of it. But, I mean, in the garden, there was like a great big puddle, and it was just like covered in grubs. And so hopefully that killed a lot of them. And now there's not very many grubs out there at all. Even in the greenhouse, maybe 3 or 4 come up every day, but it's not like a whole bunch of them. So I think for now I'm going to hold off on treating them because it's gotten cold now. So if they're still alive, they've went down and they're probably not going to be coming up anymore this year. So, yeah, I'm so wishy-washy. One minute I want to treat them, and then the next minute I'm like, well, maybe I should hold off. And the next minute I'm like, yes, I need to treat them and get rid of them. But I think for the most part, they're good for now. And then this spring we might have to do something. So, oh, you used to live in Nickerson. Nickerson's probably, I don't know, a little over an hour away from us. So we're around the Pratt area. Wow, Dean, you live in Australia?
One person asked, what are your plans with Ollie?
Ollie, because he's such a good cat. I know, he is. All along, our plans have been to butcher him. That's what we bought him for, and that's what we're planning on doing with him because he's basically a steer, and if we would keep him like as a pet, he'd be a really expensive pet, and it would take a lot to feed him and all of that. And so, we do have a date set to take him into the processor in December, and so he'll be going then. I called him and wanted to get him in this month, but they were really booked, and so their first opening was in December. So we'll probably take the next couple months to go ahead and finish him out, and then he will go in. So, and let's see, I'm getting behind on comments here.
One person's One person said that they like your ears.
Oh yeah, they like your ears.
Thanks.
It matches your hair. Hopefully, if there's a really hard freeze, maybe they'll be killed off. Yes, I do hope the grubs have been killed off for sure. Hey, Elf Lords, how are you? We're actually freezing here because it got really cold last night. Had freezing temps, so and we had a little bit of snow last night too. So we've been trying to stay warm. Luckily, we got all of our animals prepped and everything. Let's see. After the rain, we had a problem with. Yes, we did finally turn the heat on, which we've had it on for a week and a half, maybe, or 2 weeks now.
Yeah.
Yeah, we went out big time. But, what was I going to say? Oh, we had a bad problem with predators a while back, and something had been getting our chickens. You know those chicks that hatched in the spring that we were kind of they're kind of unexpected. A hen got broody and sat on them, and the eggs, and well, those chicks grew up, and anyway, they kind of didn't really have a home because we didn't train them to go into the coop because they had been living in the chicken tractor, and when they got old enough to free range, we just kind of let them loose. Well, they kind of just roosted wherever they wanted to throughout the summer, and we didn't really have a problem up until recently, and then something got all of them but 4. And then those 4 started going up into the coop with the rest of the chickens at night. And anyway, then, I don't know when, it was a while back, I decided to let our turkey poults loose because they'd gotten bigger. We had 3 toms left out of that last batch that had hatched. And the turkeys that we had free ranging were always hanging around them, and they acted like they all wanted to be together, so I decided to let them loose. And it was kind of a bad choice to make because in a couple of days we lost all 3 of them. Something got them. And so then a day or 2 after that, they got our one tom that Charlie, I think is his name, right?
Yep.
They got Charlie. And so then we were only down to Chance and Chloe. And then, of course, our 2 breeders that live out by Ollie. And so what we did is we rounded up all of them, or at least the 2 out there, and we brought them all up to the coop up here. And so now they're all together, locked up. And then we had to take our chickens that were in the red coop and put them over in the middle coop. And, we trimmed their wings and everything so they can't get out. And we have all of our chickens locked in our middle coop. And we're going to leave them like that for a while just to make sure that nothing else gets them. So, and anyway, while doing that, that also prepared us for winter because that was what we had planned to do with our chickens and turkeys was get them all rounded up. And so everything just kind of happened all at once. We did that, and then boom, it got cold on us, so we were kind of glad to have that all done. Where's Dylan? Dylan is at home. He lives in town, and he only comes out on the weekends, so. Yep.
I am going to be right back.
I agree about
Checking
that.
it out.
Time for predator stew. We need to catch, I'm pretty sure it's coyotes. Because it was super scary. The night we went out to get our chickens.
I guess it's here to move. Oh, there.
Well, see, okay, the day that we got everything rounded up and we moved the turkeys up, we put them in the pen by the red coop, and then we left it open to let the chickens go up. And well, that night, once the chickens gone up, then we went out there and we caught each of the chickens and clipped their wings and then moved them over in the dark. And when we went out there, we could hear the coyotes, and they were like so close.
They were.
And it was really freaky. And then, we were in the coop catching the chickens, and they were squawking and flapping and carrying on. And I was so afraid that they were going to attract the coyotes, and they were going to come around here.
Yeah. I was like scared. I was taking the flashlight and checking like far out there, making sure that there wasn't any coyotes or anything. I was scared to death.
And then once we'd leave the coop, we'd run as fast as possible with a huge cage full of chickens to the garden, and then get through the garden into the coop and let them loose, and then hurry up and run back. It was a mess, but it was a long, long day because we'd spent that whole day out there trying to get the fence fixed and everything, so we could get them all put up. So. Yes, chicken dinners are good, and even the coyotes enjoy them. Hey, Anita, how are you today, or this evening? How big is our farm? We are on probably, I think it's 6 to 7 acres, something like that. So, and, yep. Well, that's kind of what I was wondering about. A possum or a coon might have gotten them, but the problem is, like when the turkeys disappeared, our 3 turkey poults, there was no evidence. There was no feathers. There was no nothing. Whatever it was, I got him, just carried him off. And then when our big Tom was missing, something attacked him in the yard, and there was feathers everywhere. And then there was more feathers out there, kind of like beyond the shop, kind of out where the barn's at. And then there was like a trail of feathers throughout the alfalfa patch. And then on the other side of the alfalfa patch, there was a whole ton of feathers, and there was some parts and all that kind of stuff there, just a few things laying there. But it was obvious whatever got him actually drug him clear over there and ate him. And he was big. And so I figured it'd have to be a coyote or something like that, because I don't think a coon or a possum could actually get him and carry him off like that.
Mm-hmm.
So, anyway. Thank you, Anita. We're glad that you enjoy watching, because we enjoy making the videos, and we enjoy chatting with all of you guys, and you guys give us lots of great ideas and inspire us to keep going and everything. So anyway, let me see, what else have we not talked about here. Guess I told you about the garden, and today is the first freeze, and that's done and over. And we harvested our sweet potatoes over the weekend, and I've never been able to successfully grow sweet potatoes before, but we got some ginormous ones this time. And it, like this right here, that's the smaller one of them. And then this one here, they are just huge. And I'm pretty excited. We got a whole table full. So we're going to be eating a lot of sweet potatoes. What are your plans for next spring? Any new animals? We'll probably get some more chickens, because we usually do that every year.
Can we get a horse?
Miley wants a horse really, really bad, but I have to say no on that, because they're kind of expensive, and not sure that it would be the most affordable thing. One thing I'm considering, though, is some new goats. We're wanting to try maybe getting the Nigerian dwarf, because they're a lot smaller, easier to handle, and stuff like that. The only concern I have with them is that they might be harder to milk than what the Nubians are. And we've kind of gotten used to milking them, but I really do want to try them. And so maybe in the spring I want to look for possibly getting a couple of them, because I think they're really, really cute.
I'm tired of holding my water.
Will you get another cow for next year? That's a good question. Sometimes we say yes, we will, and sometimes we say no, Ollie's enough for a while. But, I guess it kind of depends on our finances and whether or not we feel we can afford it. Ollie was one. We've always planned on getting a cow, and we wanted to get a steer to raise up. That's been kind of like our ultimate goal because beef is our favorite meat. And so we do want to keep having them, and raising them and everything, but then it is expensive. And Ollie was he kind of came about at the right time, you might say, and he was a good price, and we were lucky to get him at that price. And so, and it's all worked out and everything, but I guess it basically just depends on whether we can find the right kind next year and all of that, basically. Okay. What breed of what are you talking about? Chickens or goats? Or what? And Julie says, I have Nigerians, you will love them. The milk is so rich and makes wonderful cheese. I've heard that. And I think they would be a better fit for us because Nubians produce a lot of milk and we're not big milk drinkers. And so I'm thinking the Nigerians would be more of a better fit that way. Chickens, okay. Northwest Pacific. What's your weather like there and all of that? No, we don't watch anime. Anime. Do we watch that?
I think
or maybe you do, since you.
I think there's maybe one. I can't remember the name.
Okay, but well, I don't personally, but they.
I
might.
don't.
I guess Miley has. How are the rabbits doing?
They're doing good. They're just as cute as ever, and I've tried breeding them just a little bit ago or a while back, and it wasn't very successful. So I was thinking about trying again. So
Theodore is getting a little on the old side, we think.
yeah,
He just can't quite
get the job done.
exactly. And so, and then the younger buck, he's just a little too young yet.
A little too young.
So we're kind of in that in-between stage.
Yes.
But we might have to wait till spring to breed them. Maybe. Maybe. Yeah.
I want rabbits on Halloween. What's wrong with rabbits on Halloween?
15 degrees. Okay, let's see. What kind of chickens? That the coldest is about 15 degrees. Pretty much about any chickens that we have would probably work because we get about that in the coldest part of winter too sometimes. We have semi long periods of coldness and stuff. The highest has been about 103 degrees. That's very similar to us in the summer.
Yeah. What's a rooster?
Oh, light Brahma.
Light Brahmas are really good. But Forvingtons are really good. Sex Links are really good. Rhode Island Reds, just
Basically
any standard chicken.
Bigger standard breed. I will say the ones like what Neville is and Egyptian Fayumi, they survive through the winter okay, but they get cold, Neville kind of, you could tell when the weather was really cold, he would get super cold, and the tips of his comb would kind of get a little bit frostbitten and stuff like that. So they aren't probably as good, but pretty much any of the other ones are.
If you could only have one animal, what would you choose?
Ooh.
I think rabbits for me. Cats.
Oh man. That one is a tough one because I have to have chickens so we can have eggs, and then I like goats. I guess my number one animal would probably be a chicken because they're the cheapest farm animal I think to have, and they produce a lot of food, and they are multi-purpose and all that. Hi, Jonah. All right, that's exciting to get some pullets this spring. You'll love chickens. Once you get them, it's just so addicting. It's like
Yeah.
you get a few and you don't stop. It's really hard.
Which we do get them every year for the fair, though, too.
Yeah.
That's another thing.
We probably wouldn't get so many or have as many as we do, but Miley likes to show them in the fair for 4-H and stuff like that, and so we always like to order them early in the spring so that way we have some nice looking ones to take to the fair and stuff. So the most you can get is 15. Well, that actually might be a good thing because it'll prevent you from ending up like with 50 of them or whatever, like we have done before. Mini Lamanchas. Those, I've heard they are good too. I'll have to check into those.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, Jonah, that is a lot of birds. Ducks, geese, turkeys, and chickens.
Wow.
And guineas, 150. Do you sell the eggs and all of that? Let's see. What else do we have? Is there anything else?
Have we talked about that one? What's in
Hey, I'm in the mood. How are you?
this one? I think we did talk about everything.
We didn't talk about the greenhouse yet,
Oh,
but
thanks.
I guess we could talk about the greenhouse. Things are still looking good in there, and I'm hoping to make everything, or what do you want to say, extend the life of everything in there for a while. I'm hoping that it doesn't get too cold. During the spring, we had problems with it getting cold and freezing up, so I don't know. I'm hoping. But anyway, I took hay and I laid it down the middle of the walkway and made some compost tea out of rabbit manure and poured it over it and everything. So I'm hoping that it will kind of like heat it up and keep it going okay. So
One person asked, is the grub invasion solved?
yes, I think so. We've had a lot of rain, and like in the garden we had this ginormous puddle, and there was like a bazillion grubs just floating in the water. So I'm hoping that they all drowned and everything. So
Yeah. What do you think about the cattle panel coops?
I think cattle panel coops would be awesome. In fact, I've been
Yes.
considering putting one out there, maybe just a temporary one in the garden to give the chickens extra shelter and a place to go through the winter. So, I think that would work. And I've also been thinking of making one for the goats out in the pasture too. So that way they don't always have to go to the barn. So. You planted one seed. Was that your on your zucchini? What's the weather like in your area right now? Are you like in summer? Or are you more in fall? Let's see. Yeah, that was definitely a good thing with all the rain was that it killed all the grubs and everything. It's almost like nature just kind of took care of it for us, and so we didn't have to treat them as of yet. I'll reanalyze this spring though. Tonight you're going to have your first frost. Maybe you just planted them a little too late in the season, maybe, and that's why they were drying up. But I'm really not sure. Did you have any bugs or anything on them? Maybe squash bugs. Like when ours
Squash
do that,
bugs.
it's usually squash bugs or something like that. It's getting them. Besides chickens, what is the best animal to have on a small homestead like 1 acre?
Probably goats.
Or rabbits. It depends.
Yeah.
Are you going to be growing a garden on your 1 acre? Because if you're going to put a garden in, rabbits are really useful for their manure. And but if you're wanting something for meat, you know, rabbits would be a good choice. But if you're wanting milk or something like that, then goats would probably be the other better choice. Like a miniature breed or something, probably. Yeah, you probably do want to try again next year and see how they do. Hopefully, you'll have a better luck next year with them.
Yeah.
You're planning out your homestead and you have 1.4 acres of land. All right. Yes, I would probably, if I was you, start with chickens and then go to maybe rabbits because those two are pretty good beginner animals. Goats are too, but they take a little more care and they're a little more expensive to maintain and that kind of stuff. Yes, definitely start small and see how and take it from there. Yes, I agree about that. Don't get a buck if you have a small space, but then because bucks stink and you have to keep them separated and they're just harder. Yes, we butcher chickens and turkey on our farm, and then when we raise pigs, we usually take them in and have them processed because we don't really have the setup to do that, nor do any of us really have the desire to learn how to butcher pigs. And then same way with Ollie, we're going to take him in, our calf, take him in and have him processed. So, but as for meat, we broke chickens, pigs, turkeys, and then the calf this year.
One person asked, did you get your canning done?
Yes, I did. I got my tomatoes all done, which is nice. I ended up not canning any green beans because our sewer was plugged and I couldn't wash our jars. But luckily, once the rain quit, our sewer started working again, so that's good. And then I do have a few beans that I picked the other day in the fridge, and I might can those. And so yes, let's see, what was the other? There was one other.
One.
Oh, isn't it expensive to have them processed? Yes, it is, but still, when I divided out the whole cost, like with our pigs, for example, the total cost, including the buying the pigs and paying for all the feed and the processing, it still averaged out to be about $2 and some cents a pound, which is still way cheaper than what you could buy any of that for at the grocery store. So it is cheap. It is more expensive to take them somewhere, but then you would also have the cost of the setup if you were to do it yourself, and you'd have to invest in a lot of stuff. So yeah, but we're expecting Ollie to cost about probably, what was it, $600 to get him processed. That's like an average. So,
And then one person asked, did you get all your goods bred?
I think so. We've left a little bit with him, and Tilly pretty much lost interest, and so we ended up having to separate him from Nutmeg, or from the whole group, because he kept bullying Nutmeg for some reason. And before we got all the rains, we had a kind of like a misty, rainy type day, and he wasn't letting her in the barn. And I discovered she was just standing outside shivering. And I thought there was something wrong with her, and I went up there, and then they all came out, and then she ran in the barn, and then he ran in there and chased her back out again, and chased her clear out into the middle of the pasture. And so then that's when I figured out that he was bullying her. So I just went ahead and moved him over into his pen, and I'm hoping that they all are bred. We are taking the majority of our goats to the sale this Saturday, and we're only going to end up keeping like 4 of them. So we're going to have Little Bit, and then Aster, our Weather, and then we're going to keep Nutmeg and Sweet Pea. And so I'm pretty sure that Nutmeg and Sweet Pea are bred. So that'll be good. In fact, I'm kind of suspicious that Nutmeg got bred earlier on this summer. I think she might have possibly gotten bred in July, I think, because they all got in together with Little Bit. And then he's just been extremely, I don't know, bullies her a lot, and hasn't really liked her around. So I'm just kind of assuming maybe she's already pregnant, and that's why. So I don't know. We'll see. So we might actually have kids maybe in December, which might be a good thing, and it might be a bad thing, because it might be really cold at that time. But anyway, hopefully not. But yeah, 600 is just the average, is what they told me on butchering. I'm sure it can go well over that, depending on how big your calf is, because they usually do it by the pound. I think they said for us it'll be 69 cents a pound, and then there's a $25 kill fee and a $25 disposal fee. And then if we want anything else, like maybe the place that we're taking them to actually makes hot dogs and stuff like that. So if we want that kind of stuff made, there's extra fees on that. So it's kind of as expensive as you make it, basically, kind of, sort of.
Yeah.
Like if you want more things, then it gets more expensive. So, and then they were averaging on I think it was a 700-pound carcass, is what they said would run about $600. And so I don't know if Ollie will be that much, but we're kind of expecting him to be just a little bit less, because he's kind of on the smaller side. So they are. I'm trying to get caught up on the. But let's see. That's awesome, Jonah. You butchered 10 chickens yesterday and got 12 more to do. Have you been butchering them for a long time, or is this? That's something that I kind of regret doing, is we didn't get any meat chickens this year, or this fall, to butcher. And I kind of wish we had, but then I was afraid that we wouldn't have enough freezer space when we got Ollie done. So Our farm is about 7 acres. Do you get a lot of snow where you live? I live in western New York. We've got 8 feet of snow oh gosh.
Oh my gosh.
I don't even want to think of that, but
No.
I want snow.
normally we don't get a lot of snow, but there's been years where we do. I don't know, it just kind of goes in cycles where we have like really wet a period of wet years, and then it'll go where we have a period of dry, and pretty much we've always had dry, with the exception of maybe the first or second year we lived here. We had a really wet winter and we had a lot of snow then. But so that's why I say we are in for a doozy of a winter this year, because we have had like more rain than we've ever had in a very long time, and if it keeps it up, I'm afraid we're just going to be up to our eyeballs in snow all winter long.
That'd be amazing.
Hey Jackie, how are you? Yes, we do have a deep freezer. It's a medium-ish sized one, and then my mom has an upright one that's pretty big, and then we have a smaller deep freeze here in the house. So I'm hoping between all 3 of them that we can fit all of our meat in there, and if not, then I guess we'll have to get another one or something. We've been kind of keeping our eye out for a used one, just to have one extra one. But anyway, yes, that would be nice to find somebody to go halves with you. Are you raising your own right now? J Dogs, so that's how it is. That's who I was talking to. If you're raising your own, or if you are just thinking about doing that. Did you ever can meat? Yes, I have canned meat. I've canned chicken, and then one time I did a roast and potatoes and carrots in a jar. That was really good too. In fact, I think I made videos on those. I need to go through and organize my channel and get playlists made, and get all my canning videos into one playlist and stuff like that. I've been meaning to do that for a very long time, and I haven't done it. But anyway, I'm going to do that sometime. But I can put the links to those videos in the comments after this video if you want me to. I haven't ever tried canned pork either, but I do love canned chicken. In fact, we just ate canned chicken tonight for supper.
Yeah,
we made some
it
chicken
was
patties.
really good.
It was. In fact, unfortunately, it's one of our last few jars left.
Really?
I think.
Oh.
I canned some from our spring chickens, and then, so yeah, we've used it all up. I have a bunch of, probably 6 or 8 chickens still in the freezer, and I'm wanting to get them out. I can those. Jackie, you're eating Chinese food and watching you.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you made some Play-Doh. Good deal.
That's
I'm
awesome.
glad your kids are enjoying it. Samantha, you're canning beans and spaghetti sauce now. All right.
I love the smell of homemade Play-Doh. It's just the best.
Wait.
It is.
Can I get the Play-Doh out?
Yes, you can. They never did do a game. They were going to play a game or something
Yeah.
with it, but then I had to can and all that, and then our camera pooped out, so
Yeah.
all of our plans are just done in that area right now.
They are.
Wait, should I get this live one? You can
Hopefully
get
I'll
the
have
live one.
another camera in another week or two, hopefully. You got to make applesauce and crab apple jelly. Alright. Crab apple jelly. That's interesting. I bet it's good. That's cold. Our our apple tree hasn't done too well this year, but we did get a few apples off of it. But a couple of years ago, I canned a bunch of applesauce because our tree just was loaded with apples. So. Yep. Let's see. Trying to think if there's anything else that I haven't talked about yet. So do you guys have any other questions? I think I pretty much covered everything. Oh. That's good that it's tastes good. Hoping to make some good apple butter dish. Oh yes, apple butter is like the best. I love apple butter. I made 2 or 3 batches a couple years ago in the crock pot, and that was really, really good. So, yep. How long have I been canning? I have actually been canning. Oh man, I gotta think about this for a while. Dylan was probably like 2 when I got my first canner, and he's 24. So I've been canning pretty much 22 years, but I haven't always canned it.
24 years.
24. Oh, he's 26.
Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah. So it's
I was
24
gonna say,
years.
because I'm 22.
Yeah,
so.
you're 22. Okay, yeah, so it's about 24 years that I've had my canner, and I didn't can every single year that I've had it, but off and on throughout the years I've always grown a garden and always canned various things. So, yeah. I kind of had that problem too, with my apple butter being thin. One time I did, and then I just like cooked it longer the next time and left the lid off and let the moisture kind of escape, and then it was a lot better.
Mom. Do you want to get a smaller one? Says
A smaller Play-Doh? Yeah.
One.
No, you can. It's fine. Let's see. Has it been hard for us to raise turkeys from babies? It really hasn't. I mean, we've. The hardest part, I suppose, was in the beginning when we were like our turkey laid a bunch of eggs, and then I went and took the eggs and I put them in the incubator, and then they wouldn't hatch. And so then the next time I let our turkey do it herself, and then after that it's always been really easy just to let her do it. And pretty much once they've hatched, all of ours have lived. We haven't ever had any die or anything. I will leave them with their mama, and I think that helps a lot. The only other problem that I've had with raising turkeys is on our second batch this year. We had 2 that hatched out early, and then she got off the nest, and then there was a whole bunch of eggs left. And so then I took them in and had to put them in the incubator, and then they hatched one by one every couple of days, and they didn't all hatch out in one shot. But I mean, once they'd hatch, I'd just go take them out to the mama, and they all lived and they all did fine. But there's a few that didn't hatch, but that's been our only problems. And what we feed them is just, I think, an all flock raiser or something like that. We don't even feed them chick food or anything like that. We just feed them something that the mama and them both can eat. Let's see. You thought Brooklyn. Yeah,
A lot of people say that. I look young.
Yeah, I'm a lot. I'm not very young anymore. Let's just put it that way. Yeah. Um. Oh, I hear you on that about being stuck in the city and wanting to do a lot of things because we were in the same boat before we moved here. There was just a lot of things. We were really, well, we were stuck in a town, more or less, not really a city, but a tiny town, and they wouldn't let us do anything. And so, until we could move here, and then we could do more. So,
Goodness, you're so cold.
No.
It's so cold.
yes. How long have we raised birds and shown birds? Pretty much 10 years. Chickens were the very first thing that we got when we moved here in the spring. And we bought them, bought chicks, and then, it was it that year or the year after? They showed them an open class at the fair. And then,
Yeah, it was the same year. So probably
it was the
7.
same years. Yeah, it was about 7 years, I think. So, yep. I need to see some. Oh, okay. Okay. I was just, my camera was doing something weird. Oh yeah, we had a few in Texas. Michael said that. Yep. We did actually. We lived about like a block and a half from the county barn there, and the place where we lived wasn't zoned to have animals, but we had a big yard and we wanted chickens, so we kind of got them anyway. And then we had them, and then we had them for a while, and then we got caught and were told to get rid of them. And then we moved them and hid them in our yard. Then we got caught again, and we were told that we were going to get fined if we didn't get rid of them. So then we got rid of them, and then after that, we were determined we were going to move somewhere where we could have chickens. And then about, I think it was a year and a half or 2 years after that, we moved here. So, hey, Food Forest, how are you? I love showing birds, and I showed for 3 years myself, and I'm 17, so this is the last year that I could do junior showmanship. Aw. That's always fun to show, and it is always sad when you get to the end of being able to show and everything. Maybe you can find other shows to do, or continue to show other places, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
I know, like here at the state fair, you can keep showing them or taking them, that kind of thing. I don't know how many bird shows they have around your area. I don't know if we have very many around here. We only do 4-H, so that's. Hey Jody. What part of Texas did we live in? We lived in the Panhandle, out in the boonies, down by. It was actually Spearman, just out in the middle of nowhere. So. Yes, Jackie. That is a concern that you aren't supposed to mix chickens and turkeys together because turkeys can get a blackhead, which is a disease caused by a parasite. But it's only if that parasite's in your soil. And if it's not, then you can raise them together successfully. And because I was freaked out about that. I heard about that at first too, and so when we got turkeys, we kept them separate from our chickens, and we didn't let our turkeys free range or anything. In fact, that middle coop that we have our chickens in now, that used to be the spot where we would keep our turkeys all the first year. And then I went to the feed store one time and was talking about that, and the lady there said she had never heard of chickens and turkeys not being able to be raised together, because she said there was a lot of people around here that do that, and they did it just fine. And so I was like, oh, okay. So then when I went and got more turkey poults, I just went ahead and put them in with our chicks, and I raised them together, and they all ran as a huge flock that whole spring and summer together, and we've never had problems with it. So I think it just depends on the area you live in. Wow, you've pressed 1,000 pounds of grapes and have been drinking pure grape juice fresh. Oh my gosh.
Wow.
I'm so jealous. That would be awesome to be able to grow grapes.
Be awesome. That would be.
Yes, that would be amazing. So where are you from, Food Forest?
Mom, you think that one
No, I did. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't even pay attention or know that I was doing that.
we can have this.
Okay, thank you. What is it? Let's see. Jonah said I also volunteer at the Common Ground Fair here in Maine, and next my father and I will be running the poultry barn. That'll be cool. That's
That will
awesome.
be awesome.
Yes. It's always kind of sad to, like end your time whenever you are showing and stuff like that, but it's always fun to stay involved and keep doing stuff and you'll always find new things to do and participate in. J-Dog says, I lived in Amarillo, did some day labor stuff up there. There's a big dinosaur on a hill somewhere in the Panhandle. That's cool. I don't know if we've ever seen the big dinosaur, have we?
Yeah, I don't.
But we used to go to Amarillo a lot to shop.
Yeah.
That was our main shopping place to shop whenever we needed to do a bunch of clothes shopping and stuff like that. What hatchery do you recommend getting chicks from? We like Murray McMurray the best, probably. That's usually our number one. But we've also ordered from Myers Hatchery and I think from Cackle Hatchery. Cackle is a good one to order from. I think that's the one. If you want to get like just a minimum order, you can, I think, order just like 3 or something like that. I know with Murray and Myers, they want, you have to order a minimum of like, what is it, 20 or 25 or something like that. So, can you tell when you know it? You can tell when you got blackhead disease. It will take less than 24 hours for your birds to die, and their heads will get black spots. Ugh. That's not good. So far, so good. We have not had any problems having our turkeys and chickens run together or anything. And if we ever did, we'd probably just have to get rid of our turkeys because our chickens have been everywhere. And we wouldn't be able to have a safe spot to put our turkeys. So,
that one person with the grapes, they're from Vancouver Island.
Vancouver Island, Canada. Wow. That's awesome. This is a serious homestead chat. Most people talk about all kinds of subjects. Yeah. We've got a lot of subjects going on here. Can you tell when you get... It keeps it more interesting that way, actually, I think.
Yes.
I just get have to stop and think for a minute sometimes so I can get back on the right subject. Can you tell or you can tell, I read that one, it's, let's see, the dinosaur is cool on a ranch past Borger, not sure, maybe closer to Guyman. Let's see, we always used to go from Borger to Guyman, didn't we? Was it Borger?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I never saw it. And then Michael said the big dinosaur is south of Canadian Texas. Hey Kelsey, how are you? So do you run turkeys and chickens together, Jonah, or do you keep them separate? Hey, Azalea. Florida. I never realized you were from Florida. That's cool.
Food Forest is leaving.
Oh,
So.
well, okay. Bye, Food Forest. Thanks for stopping in. It was fun to
Yes,
chat.
Thank you.
Bye.
See ya.
Okay, yeah. I think it's just certain areas of the United States that you have to be careful about blackhead. And it's actually, I think it's in like the earthworms, or something. They carry it, and then when the chickens eat earthworms, then they get it. And it doesn't affect chickens, but they carry it. And then when they do that, then the turkeys catch it from that, and then it affects their livers, and that's what makes them die. But that is just a very generalized explanation of it.
Okay.
You're welcome, Jackie. I would just be careful because you just kind of have to ask people around your area to find out if they have problems with blackhead, and if there is, then you probably don't want to mix them. But if you don't, then you can. This year has been so busy. Got a new job, moved to a new town, renovating my first house, moved all the animals here. God, wow, it sounds like you have been busy, Kelsey. That's awesome that you have a house and everything. There's also, oh, that's interesting. There's also breeds that are more prone to blackhead. And that makes sense. It was a fabulous apple harvest for us this year. About 200 pounds. Wow. Made apple butter, apple sauce, dehydrated, and of course made some pies. We still have about 100 pounds left. Wow, Jody, that's awesome. Where are you located at? For some reason, our apples didn't do so good this year. We had a ton on the tree. Oh, that's cute. You made a little kitty cat. And, what was that? Oh, I got sidetracked for a second. Our apples, we had a ton on the tree, and then for some strange reason, whenever they would get close to ripening, they would just fall off. And so we never ever got very many apples this year, and unless we picked them when they weren't quite right, and they weren't really that great when we'd do that. But sometimes I did that just so that way we'd have a few apples. All the work should be done in next month. Looking forward to slowing down a bit. Animals are doing well, though. So that is good, Kelsey. I'm glad that you've moved and your animals are all settled in and all of that. I bet it's kind of hard to move with all your animals and everything. I mean, our move was really tough, and we didn't have any farm animals. We just had us and our pets to move. Of course, we were moving our whole house and our shed and everything, so that was a little difficult. But hey, Rigo, how are you?
Jody is from Wisconsin.
Jody. Oh, all right.
One with lots of apples.
The apples, wow, that's really cool. I'm jealous of you having apples because I was looking
Yes.
forward to having them this year. Because last year we didn't get any at all, and can't remember if it was the year before we didn't get any, or the year before that.
The year before that, we had a lot.
Yeah. I think it was 2 years ago we had a lot, and then the last 2 years we didn't have any. So, yeah. Oh, my hands are all sticky with that playground.
I know,
all
it's
scritchy.
like, it's all warm.
What's the weather like down here? Are you talking to us, Jonah, or our weather here is very cold, freezing.
What should I make it now?
All right, Rigo. We're doing great. We're just cold. We had our first freeze of the season. Our garden's all done now, and you're talking to us? Yeah. Okay, I'm answering both of your guys' questions. Yes, it is. It's just been cold here. We had our first freeze last night. It got down, and I think to the 20s, didn't it?
No.
Was it the 20? Oh.
No, you keep thinking it's the 20s, but it was just the 30s.
Feels like it was 20s.
It felt like it was 20s, but wind chill.
Yeah.
But the actual temperature was in the 30s. So. Okay, Nita, thank you for stopping in. It was fun chatting.
Yeah. See ya.
See ya.
You're expecting snow on Thursday? Wow.
Almost now.
Wow, 4 days to get them all there. I can.
Oh,
Okay,
wow.
But that was a lot of work. I grab a drink because I'm very thirsty. So do you like your new job that you got, Kelsey? Oh, somebody said that was really cute, probably about your cat you made.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
I missed some.
can you look at
Yeah. So, I'm trying to think of anything else. Do you guys have any other questions? Miley's gonna go get our cat, Rafiki. But
It fell.
there's Rafiki. Yep. It's a spoiled little bratty cat.
He loves potato chips. That's one thing he likes.
Let's see. Last year, our apple harvest was very sad. This year it was crazy good. Yeah, it seems like I kind of have to wonder sometimes if you have like a really, really good harvest and then it's kind of like the tree just needs to rest for a year or two and then you'll have another one. At least that's the way it works for us. Just azaleas, I just got back in from running off a raccoon by the chicken coop. Ooh, that's creepy.
Oh.
You're very brave. If I had a raccoon by the coop, I'd be like, oh, I need to get him out, but I couldn't go get him or chase him off or anything. Okay, J-Dog. Thanks for stopping in.
See ya.
Bye.
Looks like my cat named Bear. That's good. Okay. Good night, Elf Lords. Thanks for stopping in.
Yeah. Good night.
We had a skunk the other day. I don't know where it was at, but that freaked me out because I am scared of skunks. If there was a skunk outside, I'd be like bailing and running to the house. But anyway, it must have sprayed just like really close to our house because it stunk up the whole house. And then when you stuck your head outside, it smelled like rotten garlic. It was the weirdest smell ever. So anyway, it was.
One person asked, what are your Halloween plans this year?
What are our Halloween plans, Miley? What do we usually do for Halloween every year?
Go trick or treat.
Yeah, we're gonna take Miley trick or treating, and what are you gonna dress up as?
A witch.
And she's been excited. She can't wait for Halloween. All the candy.
Creepy right now. Wait. Should I go get the hat?
Yes. She has a really cute witch costume. Have you had any look? Okay, have you had any luck hatching in an incubator? The very first time we did, we had a breedy hen sitting on a bunch of eggs, and then she went and she got off the nest and started running around, and then when she went back, she got into a different nesting box and quit basically sitting on the eggs. And so we hurried up and ran to town and got an incubator, and we set it up and then put all the eggs in there, and we hatched them out, and it was really successful. And then like the next year we hatched some and pretty much always had a really successful time doing it. And then here 3 or 4 years since then, we've tried to use that incubator, the same one, and it just, something's wrong with it or something. We can't keep it regulated, and we've had really bad luck with it. The only time we've had any good luck is when our turkeys are almost ready to hatch. We'll take the eggs and we'll stick them in there and finish them out, and they'll go ahead and hatch. But if we try to start them from the very beginning, it doesn't work. And I think it's just because it's just something's wrong with it. I think we need to get a new one.
Yeah. I decided.
Oh, Miley's got her costume on. So anyway, are you going to plant in the greenhouse over the winter? Yes. We have tomato plants in there that I planted in the spring, and I wanted to get them up and going really good so they would have a lot of tomatoes on them. And I did that. And then I recently planted lettuce in there, and I said this earlier, but I took one of our big pepper plants that was grown in the garden, because it was about ready to freeze, and it was making me sad because it was looking so beautiful. So I took that and I transplanted it into the greenhouse, and it's actually doing good. And I think it's going to live, so I'm really excited about that. And then I don't know if peppers will do so good in there over the winter, though, because it might get too cold for them. And then we had a bunch of radishes in our white planter box out there, and I picked a bunch of them, and they weren't quite ready yet at all. And then I transplanted them into the greenhouse, and they are actually doing good too. So I thought, and I was pretty happy about that. But we've got lettuce, peppers, tomatoes, and kale, and spinach, all grown in the greenhouse. So.
Someone asked, how long have you had the channel?
How long have we had our channel?
Because he's seen videos where it's 5 or 6. What's the least way?
Said 5 or 6.
Right there.
How long have you had your YouTube channel? I see videos where mine was around 5 or 6 years old. When did we start? Back in 13 or 14 is when we started. Because I started a blog at first. And then it was really hard to keep up with it and doing all the homesteading and then trying to write and everything. And so for my garden updates, instead of taking a bunch of pictures and add them in and explaining stuff, what I did is I started a YouTube channel where I would just do kind of like a walkthrough and show my garden, and then I'd post it to my blog. And then I started getting more subscribers on my YouTube channel than I did on my blog. And so I just eventually started making more videos. And so, yeah, we've been kind of doing it. It started out as kind of a hobby, and then it's just kind of went from there, so.
And then
Yeah.
a lot of people think your costume is cute.
Yes.
And awesome.
It is very cute.
Thanks.
You're not going to be a very scary witch. You're going to be a very nice witch.
I've never really been anything scary for Halloween.
Let's see.
Right.
All right, Kelsey, you're just working on starting your own business. All right, I hope you can do that too. That'd be awesome.
I'm gonna go and change out a costume.
Okay, Azalea, I'd never, ever, ever run off a skunk either. In fact, I was telling the kids that after it sprayed, somebody needed to take a gun out there and try to find it and shoot it. But nobody wanted to, and then I said I would, and they were laughing hysterically because they said it would be so dangerous for me to run out there with a gun because I would be shooting anything that moved because I'd be so freaked, and it would not be good at all. So, the incubator is not computerized. It's just one of those styrofoam ones, the cheaper version that we got from, I think it was Orscheln's or Tractor Supply. I want to get a better one sometime because I do think it is so fun to hatch eggs and stuff. So, Ian says, I tried to overwinter kale last year. They all froze. I wish I could grow veggies throughout the winter. Yeah, I'm kind of thinking the same thing. I'm pretty sure come December, January, nothing will be alive in the greenhouse. I'm pretty much expecting that. It's just kind of, um, I don't really know what to expect because we've never done it before, so.
This is our first year.
Yeah, I'm hoping, what I'm doing is I'm throwing hay down the middle of it and then throwing rabbit manure compost tea over it, or rabbit manure tea, I guess it is, and making compost. And hopefully that will keep it heated up enough. And I'm just not sure if it will continuously heat it or whether I'll have to keep adding it throughout the winter. But I'm hoping that I could get it to survive. I'm going to try my hardest. So, and I've also thought about adding some, what's that stuff called? That fabric. I can't think of the name of it, but
Greenhouse material.
yeah, it's not greenhouse material, but it's like a white fabric that you can put over your crops to cover them, to protect them from the frost. And I thought about getting some of that and adding it over everything in there when it starts to get really cold, just to see if it'll work.
Oh, frost cloth.
Frost cloth, that's the name of it.
Okay, that one person left.
It's gonna.
That one person left.
You have got 4 incubators, and then you've hatched around 600 birds. Wow, that's amazing, Jonah.
Wow.
I really wish that. That's kind of like one of my goals. Maybe once Miley gets out of 4-H and we don't have, she quits showing, or maybe when she gets older, we will get like a certain breed that we really like, and then try to hatch them out, and then she could take them and show them instead of buying them every year. So, but that would be that's really fun. I love hatching out chicks. Okay, Rigo, it was nice chatting. Yeah, it's not a shade cloth. It's more of like a frost cloth, right? Or
I think that's what it's called, frost cloth.
Or it's basically a white cloth that you can cover rows with and protect it from frost and stuff like that. And I thought about getting that and adding that over everything in the greenhouse when it gets really, really cold, just to see if I can keep everything going or not. But Azalea, I'm going to have to put my 22 put my 22 by the back door if I can't scare off. Yeah, you are. Okay, I'll do that. Yeah, I think there is probably something that we could probably do to make it work again. I just don't know what. I just haven't really had time to really look at it and try to figure out what's wrong with it.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do is kind of like a compost pile, but I just don't have the space in there because I've planted the whole thing. So what I'm doing is just down the middle of the walkway, I threw a bunch of hay and then I put rabbit manure over it. And then I'm going to try to keep maybe piling hay up in that area, and maybe that would help. I don't know. Maybe I need to make a bigger pile though. Anyway. So. Good night, Azalea. Thanks for stopping in.
See you later. Bye.
No, well, no, we haven't raised any type of game bird, unless guineas are game birds.
They are.
They are?
I
Yeah.
believe they are.
And we didn't really, well, yeah, we have two
Guineas.
guineas we've raised. We bought guineas, and then there for a couple of years they were reproducing like crazy. They reproduced more than rabbits. They, at one point, we had like 17 or 18 of them hatch.
Guineas.
Guineas hatch, yeah. And of course we took the chicks and sold them. Well, something happened to the first batch, most of them, and then the second batch we started taking them because the mama guinea wouldn't take care of them enough.
She wouldn't protect them.
Yeah, she wouldn't. And so there for a while we were selling baby guineas and stuff like that, but then here lately our guineas have not been hatching any. I don't know if we just don't have any males or something, or we have all males and no females or something. I don't know, but we just have the same 6 is it or 8 or something like that around here. So, but I don't really like the guineas around here, and I like them, so I'd be all right if they'd want to run off or something. I mean, they're good for ticks and they're good for bug control and stuff like that, but they just pick on the chickens.
Yeah.
And they roost in a tree over the tank and poop in it all the time. And they just cause all sorts of problems. So. So, you guys have any other questions or anything? We have guineas. Guineas, a single. Chocolate is a male and the double is a female. Okay, I'm gonna have to check on that and see, because we have not been able to tell them apart. And I never do. We'll have to look and see what we have.
We'll have to check on that.
But anyway. Well, if you guys don't have any more questions, I think we're probably gonna wrap it up for now. So it's been really fun chatting with you guys, and hopefully I will get a camera sometime in the next couple of weeks, and then we can get back to vlogging again. But until then, we'll probably just hop on here every once in a while and do live videos for you, visit with you for a bit, and that kind of thing. So the male has cupped woodles, and the female has straight.
Okay. I think most of ours are males then, because I've noticed that a lot of them have like the cupped thing on their
Probably so. We probably do have all males, and we probably don't have any more females. That's probably why we haven't been getting any chicks lately. So, anyway, I guess we will go ahead and go for now, and we will talk to you guys again soon. So, you guys want to go ahead and
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.